Right now on To The Point, our conversation with first responders just days after they saved a baby from a drug poisoning. Plus, we're looking into the numbers to contextualize the opioid crisis in our state. A trip on the back roads to the Northern California coast for the state's strangest endurance race and the athletes who tell us they do it all for the glory. And we're hearing from some lottery players who just bought their tickets at their lucky spot.
Thanks for joining us on To The Point this Friday evening. I'm Becca Habiger. Alex Bell has the night off. A baby almost died this week from fentanyl poisoning. Her story underscores the seriousness of the opioid crisis facing our state. But there's something each of us can do to help fight back. I spoke with someone who knows firsthand the power of the overdose reversal drug Narcan and why he wants everyone to add it to our first aid kit.
A 911 call for an unresponsive 9-month-old baby.
This is becoming a bigger issue in Sacramento County, and we need to do something about it.
First responders found she was suffering from fentanyl poisoning and gave her the opioid overdose reversal drug Narcan. They took her to the hospital where her tiny heart stopped beating. She needed a second dose of Narcan. She is expected to survive, but it's a call Scott Perryman and his colleagues are seeing too often.
It's heartbreaking for the family. It's heartbreaking for those who responded, those who tried resuscitating. It's heartbreaking to the community. This is absolutely tragic, and it's not just this one case. If you look at 2 weeks ago from this day, we had a 16-year-old die just down the road, and not too long after that, there's a 46-year-old who died just down the road in the same day. So this is becoming more and more prolific.
In 2021, he says Sac Metro Fire saw about 1,500 overdose cases. Already this year, they've seen 1,700 overdose cases, on track to nearly double from 2 years ago.
And it's not just the young, it's happening to the old, it's happening to those who are well off financially and those who are not. It's affecting everybody.
Fentanyl is so potent, an amount the size of 3 grains of rice can be deadly. And first responders are seeing fentanyl laced in with other drugs like marijuana. Perryman recommends everyone add Narcan or the generic naloxone to their first aid kit.
When you say, this can happen to me, oh, it could, or your loved one, or your neighbor, you never know. And so if it's not for you, man, save your neighbor's life, save your community's life.
Narcan is easy to administer by design with a pressurized spray that shoots up someone's nose and instantly into their system. And if it turns out someone is unconscious for some other reason and is not overdosing on opioids, Narcan will not hurt them. Here are some signs of an overdose.
Generally, they're going to have pinpoint pupils and some other things. But if you see somebody down, gasping for breath, not breathing effectively, and there's a possibility of overdose, Narcan.
And once you administer Narcan, he says go ahead and call 911. Now, back in March, the FDA approved Narcan for over-the-counter sales, so you do not need a script. Now, one of the most difficult parts of covering this crisis is having an accurate picture of how many people are impacted by it. We spoke to a public health official from Yolo County earlier this year about that data lag.
The California Department of Public Health in 2023 is only reporting data through 2021 on its opioid dashboard. So if you're relying on the state data and their analysis to look at opioid and fentanyl overdoses, then, we're 2 years behind.
So in an effort to give you the best idea we can, we looked at some of the numbers surrounding the fentanyl and overall opioid crisis in our state. Our Laura Painter explains what we found.
The most recent data show there were nearly 1,200 fentanyl overdose deaths in our state in the first 3 months of this year. That puts us on track for close to 5,000 deaths for 2023. Data from the California Department of Public Health shows that in 2021, about 5,900 people died from a fentanyl overdose. The governor's office says they've committed $1 billion to the issue since Newsom was elected. Half of that money comes from federal grants. The rest is from the state general tax fund and settlements from major drug manufacturers. District attorneys are cracking down on the crisis too. This man was convicted last month in Placer County of second-degree murder for supplying the drugs that killed a 15-year-old girl in Roseville. It's believed to be the first conviction of its kind for the state.
We're not going to prosecute and arrest our way out of this problem, but it is one important component to the entire solution to this epidemic.
The county even has this banner up as a warning to both users and dealers that this stuff is deadly and will be treated as such. Yolo County is taking a similar tact, reworking how they treat overdose deaths completely.
Now we treat them like crime scenes. We create a forensic perimeter, we obtain all the physical evidence we can, we obtain cell phones, rewrite search warrants for those phones, rewrite search warrants or social media. We treat it just like any other serious felony crime.
In San Francisco, the crackdown is on. SFPD says today they've already made more than 530 arrests for people selling narcotics this year in the Tenderloin district alone, nearly as many than in all of 2022. And it's important that this shift is happening now. A group commissioned to research the issue at Stanford found that if nothing is done to curb it, more than 1.2 million Americans would be killed by opioids by the end of the decade.
Now, one stat you may have heard before is that fentanyl is the leading cause of death among young adults in the United States. Our National Verify team looked into that claim and explains how it does not tell the full story.
Over the past few years, several politicians on social media have claimed fentanyl is the leading cause of death for Americans 18 to 45. Data from Google Trends shows many people are wondering if that's true. So, let's verify. Our sources are the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the National Institute on Drug Abuse, and Families Against Fentanyl. We want to tell you up front that this claim needs context because the CDC doesn't track the number of people who die from fentanyl. Many of the posts cite a 2021 report from Families Against Fentanyl, a nonprofit that raises awareness about fentanyl. When we looked through their report, we found it was based on an analysis of accidental drug overdose data collected by the CDC. We then attempted to recreate the analysis by using the same CDC database. We found that in 2020, more than 35,000 people aged 18 to 45 died from drug overdoses caused by synthetic narcotics. This is more than any other leading cause of death, like suicides, car accidents, or cancer. However, the CDC tells Verify this doesn't mean the agency concluded that fentanyl is the leading cause of death for this age group. This is because fentanyl is just one type of synthetic narcotic, and the CDC's database doesn't differentiate between fentanyl and other synthetic drugs. Although a spokesperson acknowledges fentanyl deaths likely make up the majority of those deaths because previous work has shown that fentanyl comprises approximately 90% of the synthetic narcotics category. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
To another story we've been following this week, a man accused of shooting a Stockton police officer appeared in court for the first time today. Benny Savan, a 20-year-old from Stockton, is now facing 8 different charges after carjacking. Chase ended with shots fired. The officer chasing the stolen car was shot twice in the chest, but is now recovering. A spokesperson for the San Joaquin County District Attorney spoke to the severity of the charges and a possible sentence.
Given the seriousness of this crime, the brazen attack on a peace officer, I think enhancements are appropriate in this case. The man was shot multiple times. You bet we're going to go for life.
Savan is due back in court on August 10th. We've also learned the sergeant was released from the hospital today. Later this hour, we're hearing from lottery players hoping they just bought that lucky ticket.
Looking at daytime highs today in those mid to low 90s inland, but a huge heat up on the way how high temperatures will get this weekend.
And later, a trip on the back roads to one of California's most unique races. It's the Kinetic Grand Championships, part art, part engineering, and all for the glory.
We are addicted. We love it. The crowd, the fun, the festive, the friendliness.
We got to meet the competitors, learn about the tradition, and see some of the contraptions trying to make the 50-mile journey. Well, we have been enjoying some beautiful weather this week, but Carly, it is about to heat up this weekend.
It is. We're looking at temperatures jumping. I mean, we're going from mid-90s over into those triple digits as we move into about 105 degrees by Sunday. And if you had plans to go golfing, make those reservations early in those tee times. Right around 8 a.m. looks nice to me at 65 degrees. By noon, we'll be in the mid-80s tomorrow and into the afternoon hours, mid-90s to almost triple digits by 5 p.m. Again, depending on where you are, it'll probably feel cooler under those trees, especially on a golf course. But in other spots in the city, we'll probably see downtown Sacramento looking at temperatures right around 101 to 102 degrees tomorrow. That means the UV forecasts will be extreme. We're looking at a lot of sunshine with triple-digit heat. The UV index expected to be at 11 plus. That means that UV radiation is classified as a human carcinogen, causing cancer. Now, unprotected skin and eyes will be damaged if you leave it exposed for far too long. You want to make sure you're remembering that sunscreen and even long, really, I don't want to say sweaters, but just long t-shirts, something light, white, airy, something like that could also help. Limiting your sun exposure between 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. is also going to be a huge help finding the shady moments where you can find time to be in the shade. And then, of course, if you're outdoors, seek the shade, but wear protective clothing and eyewear as well. In the Big Mountain backyard, a slight breeze still happening, but temperatures are warm. We're sitting in the mid to low 90s out there with 74 degrees in Tahoe. Sunny, and we'll continue to see sunny and hot temperatures for the next 3 days. Right now at this hour at 6:42, we are 5 to 14 degrees warmer than we were yesterday, just 24 hours ago. 9 degrees warmer in Sacramento, with 14 degrees warmer in Stockton, 5 degrees warmer there in Placerville. Looking at the weather ahead, the warming trend's already begun today, but that triple-digit heat arrives tomorrow, lasting through Monday. Then by Tuesday, we'll significantly drop into the upper 80s and low 90s, a nice cooling trend by Tuesday. And then temperatures dropping into those mid 90s to even upper 90s by around this time next week, but not the triple digits just yet. As we take a look, you're looking at some lightning strikes in the northeast portion of the state. This is where we're looking and monitoring fire weather concerns there until tonight. In areas further south, Los Angeles dealing with a heat advisory, and then areas of the southeast portion of the state all the way over to Phoenix and Arizona, you're seeing excessive heat warning until Monday there, as of course they've been dealing with way too much heat for the last month. This portion of the state looking at those thunderstorm chances through Saturday. We're seeing about 10 to 15 mile per hour winds through the valley. That'll continue again for your Saturday. A little bit of a pickup there with gusts through the coastal range and Delta. And then into Sunday, we see more widespread wind, but not quite as strong. So you'll see a lot of the winds pushing up toward areas of the foothills, but right around those lighter winds, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Then we'll start to see much cooler temperatures arriving into Tuesday. Minor heat right now, but as we start moving into your Saturday, moderate heat turns major heat by Sunday. You see that kind of red shade there sprinkled in. This is that kind of level of heat that everybody's going to be uncomfortable with 105 degrees Sunday, 102 Monday. We drop down into the upper 80s and low 90s by around Tuesday, Wednesday next week.
Thanks, Carly. Okay, when we come back, we're taking a trip on the back roads to see California's strangest race. Well, it's Friday, and that means it's time for another trip on the back roads. Right now, John Bartel takes us to watch Northern California's most epic race.
Under the overcast skies of Humboldt County's coast, a crowd is forming in the little artist town of Arcata to witness the start of Northern California's most epic and boisterous race. This is the Kinetic Grand Championship, a local tradition that's part art, part engineering, and a lot of chaos. Though it looks like a parade, it is far from it. The Kinetic Sculptures, as they're known, are about to embark on a 50-plus mile journey over land, sand, water, and mud, and they do it under their own power. No engines, no electric motors, and no rockets are allowed. Organizers do, however, make an exception for flames or bubbles. I'm not very sure that all of these are going to make it. What are these competitors racing for, you ask?
It's all for the glory.
For the glory! For the glory! For the glory!
The glory. The glory means something different to each racer, but if you ask organizer Jeno, also known as Queen Jeno, the glory is about carrying on a tradition that started in 1969 by beloved artist and Kinetic race founder Hobart Brown.
He was curious, he was creative, he loved chaos, he was the life of the party.
As legend goes, Hobart Brown built a 5-wheeled tricycle he called a pentacycle. One of his artist friends saw that pentacycle and challenged Hobart and some other artists to a race. It was such a success that Hobart held it every year since.
It's really exciting that there's almost like 50 teams, and we've had as many as 100 teams, and people just show up.
Hobart passed away in 2007. It was a huge loss to the Kinetic race community, but his legacy still lives on at the Kinetic Lab in Arcata, where you'll find sculptures of races past, each with their own unique name.
The hippo, Night of the Iguana, Flash Gordon.
Today, the Kinetic Grand Championship is a 3-day event held on Memorial Day. Competitors push, pedal, and bounce their way along 50 miles of Humboldt County coast from Arcata to Ferndale. And by far the most difficult part of the race is going through the Samoa Dunes. Racers must put on these special sand tires and pedal really, really hard.
As you can see, this is not necessarily a race of speed, but more just trying to keep it all together.
Look here!
I'm out. Something's not
Something broke.
The back, the chain.
Something broke.
And as you can imagine, keeping it all together is tough. Breakdowns are pretty much inevitable.
Very common.
Very common.
If you're not breaking down, you're not trying.
They look a little pokey.
They are.
They are.
The kinetic sculptures that survive the sandy dunes move on to day 2, a race across Humboldt's Bay. Once again, racers must add modifications to their sculptures in order to get them to float.
Have you tested it before?
A little bit. In about 30 minutes. We're going to test the water, in a few moments here.
For some people, floating is all they do. Each team has their own idea how to propel themselves in the water, and some kinetic sculptures work better than others.
Have we diagnosed the problem?
We ate too many tacos last night.
Obviously, racers could make more aerodynamic and maneuverable kinetic sculptures, but speed alone won't win this race. Judges choose a champion based on a number of factors.
So it's art and engineering and speed and pageantry.
Pageantry is a big part of the final day of racing. For those who make it to the finish line, in the Victorian town of Ferndale, they do their best to show off what's left of their kinetic sculptures.
We are addicted. We love it. The crowd, the fun, the festive, the friendliness.
In the end, it's not about who wins or loses the Kinetic Championship. It's about the glory and carrying on a tradition that a fun-loving artist started more than 50 years ago.
He started the whole thing, and I think we just follow him, and he's with us even though he's not here physically. He inspires us.
From the Kinetic Sculpture Race, I'm John Bartel. Hope to see you on the back roads.
Wow, how fun is that? Well, it's your turn now. Do you have something in your town that would be a great road trip destination? Let John know all about it by texting your idea to 916-321-3310. Happening tomorrow, Sacramento is hosting its first Blasian Unity March and Book Fair. The event is designed to build solidarity between Black and Asian communities in our area. Organizers say promoting unity has and always will be important to these groups.
That the media would like to put it is that like our communities it's Black versus Asians, or that our communities are at odds with each other, and that narrative, that mainstream narrative, really gets carried and internalized by our communities. But really, our communities have always been really interconnected, and there has always been parallels in our history together. There has always been solidarity and unity in our communities.
The event is from 5 to 8 at all city homes. In addition to the march and book fair, there will be a mural unveiling, performances, and a Blasian Unity panel discussion. And still to come, a look at one liquor store that has lottery players coming back for more. Finally, tonight, the Mega Millions drawing is going to have to consider changing its name pretty soon. The jackpot has grown to more than $1 billion. And as you can imagine, when it gets that high, people get a little bit lottery loco. There have been 30 straight drawings since someone won a jackpot prize. The current pot is now the 4th largest lottery jackpot ever in the United States and 2nd largest for the Mega Millions. We spoke to one player about why he bought his tickets at a certain Land Park liquor store.
There's winners all on the board. There's winners all on the wall. As soon as you walk in, you see somebody's won. And then like the last one, it was like 350 people won on some kind of scratcher or lottery pick. So, I mean, this actually is a winning spot.
Okay, the next drawing is about an hour from now at 8 p.m. And here's some context for you lottery fans out there. California has fared pretty well in the Mega Millions draw. Here's a look at the last 5 winners. You can see the most recent winner won more than $500 million with a ticket bought at a San Jose 7-Eleven. So wow, that's pretty exciting.
I know, and it's funny when you see that they're all pretty much at liquor stores. I'm like, do I need to dodge the grocery stores or what's going on with
Yeah.
that? All right, well, if you are planning to head out tonight, we are looking at temperatures dropping into those low 60s. And as we get into the early morning hours, we'll see 70s and 80s by lunchtime. But tomorrow, expect temperatures near 100 degrees. And then by Sunday, 105-degree temperatures with 102 on Monday. We will finally drop into those upper 80s and low 90s by Tuesday and Wednesday.
So hopefully people stay hydrated as they enjoy the outdoors, maybe some early activities.
I'd say so.
Yeah, enjoy your weekend. Jeopardy's next.
Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.